Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus pilot, and in today's video we are going to experience an engine failure right at V1 with an A321 at the maximum takeoff weight. Our growth weight at the moment is 88.5 tons, the max takeoff weight for which the Fenix A321 is certified is 89 tons, and this is our takeoff data. So we're doing a flaps 2 takeoff, which we've already selected. And a flex temperature of 44 degrees. The speeds are going to be 161, 170, 170, so that is definitely pretty fast today. Now, our standard SID would take us out with a left-hand turn. However, we do have an engine out SID that is entered in our secondary flight plan here as well. And that is straight out to Frankfurt X-Ray 3, and over there we can take up the holding. Now, as you can see, the MSA today is 4,300 feet, so 5,000 is going to be our engine out altitude. Now, we are fully set up for a takeoff, as for every normal takeoff, and we are doing a PAX off takeoff over here, and, well, we are fully prepared. So, that's what we've got over here. Now, just so that you can follow along, we are quickly going to go over the most important points of our takeoff briefing. So let's quickly go for those. And in terms of what's only relevant for our flight, that's going to be stop margin for rejected takeoff is very little. Engine outset straight at 25 miles, Frankfurt X-Ray 3. For an immediate return, we can come back to Frankfurt. Runway 25 center is programmed, but we are going to be overweight, so we'll have to reach the overweight landing checklist. Frankfurt is the best option in the area. There's nothing with a longer runway, and we also do have maintenance available over here, as well as facilities to carry our passengers further to their destination. Alright, so that's the important part over here of the departure briefing relevant to the engine out operations. I'd say with that good stuff out of the way, we are going to go ahead and release our brakes and set course towards Cyprus. Or so they thought. Takeoff. Manflex 44, SRS, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. You can feel that the aircraft is not accelerating all that well. Derated takeoff, very high weight, 100 knots, checked. V1. Rotate. Engine failure, positive climb, gear up. Autopilot 1. Heading. Those are a little too many dings here for my taste. Okay, ecam actions. So, engine 1 fail. That surely looks like it. Engine mode selector, ignition. So, engine mode selector, ignition. Thrust lever 1, idle. Okay, confirm. Thrust lever 1, confirmed. Idle. So, if no reload after 30 seconds, those 30 seconds are over already. Engine master 1, off. Confirm. Number 1, confirmed. Off. Okay, what's the speed doing over here? Not supposed to go like that. Let's go toga. Okay, so this is a little bit strange, having the shutdown and the fail open at the same time. I did program a bird strike here, so I'm going to clear the shutdown. We'll continue with the engine fail. So, if damage, engine 1 fire, push button push. So, as mentioned, we saw birds going into the engines, so damage is suspected. Confirm, engine 1 fire push button confirmed. Push. Okay, agent 1 after 7 seconds, discharge. Agent 1, discharge. Fire, engine 1, agent 1, discharged. Okay, engine secured. Alright. 1830. Push to level off. Vertical speed 0. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Another thing that was a little bit strange here in the Fenix were the constant warnings we received. That constant ding, that should not have happened. Also, the auto thrust should not have disengaged, so I am going to re-engage that one at this point. Okay, right now, accelerating and waiting to be able to retract the flaps. Okay, that was the pack, we can disregard that. Automatic flap retraction here from 1 plus F to position 1 as we pass through 210 knots. Okay, flap 0. Speed checked. Flap 0. Okay, activate secondary. And direct to Frankfurt X3. Okay, open climb. Thrust MCT, auto thrust. So, for some strange reason, nav is not engaging. Let's try that again. Direct Frankfurt X-ray 3. Well, this is strange. It's showing us some offset here. Something is wrong with the activation of the secondary here. That's got to be a bug. Let's not bother with it. I'll just pull heading again and continue flying and heading. Okay. Pack 2 is on and continue ecom. Also climb to 5,000. So, engine 1 fail. If no damage, engine 1 relight consider. Well, there is damage, so clear engine 1. So we have land ace up in amber, air bleed, and we can see number 1 is off. Clear air bleed. ELEC, generator 1 is off, expected, clear ELEC. Hydraulics, number 1 is inoperative, also expected, clear hydraulics. Status, stop ecam. Okay, so let's take a small moment here. We can't do an engine relight because of the suspected damage. We certainly don't have any reset procedures here. And likewise no OEBs. Okay, continue ecam. So, status. Avoid icing conditions. If severe ice accretion, minimum speed VLS plus 10 or green dot. Maneuver with care. Landing distance procedure apply. If number 1 engine damaged, consider engine 1 relight. Cat 3 single only. Inoperative systems. Wing anti-ice, Cat 3 dual, engine 1 bleed, pack 1, main galley, generator 1, green engine 1 pump. Remove status? Remove status. Ecam actions complete. Okay, let's bring that status up again and start the APU. And that is all done now. Okay, so we're about to reach the MSA. That means we can now start a left-hand turn. The entire sense of the engine outset is that you do have a safe way to get to the MSA. Since we're now above the MSA, we can deviate from that and don't have to enter the holding here. What ATC would usually do is that they take you on radar vectors once you're above the minimum vectoring altitude, or they take you direct to any waypoint. For example, today we have planned the immediate return towards Frankfurt's runway 25 center, and one possibility of where we could go is to Charlie over here and join the holding over here. So I suppose that is what we are going to do. Direct Charlie Hotel Alpha. Yes, we'll take that first one here. Insert. And hold over there. That's 283 right-hand turns. Insert. Okay, wonderful. Alt star. Alt. Alright, so I think the decision of what to do here is rather obvious. The engine is gone. We are not going to bother restarting it due to the suspected damage here. Frankfurt, as we have briefed, is the closest airport. Very good weather conditions here. Clear skies, almost calm winds. So I think the decision to return to Frankfurt is rather obvious, isn't it? Yep, it is. Okay, then we don't have to do the full foredeck over here. We can simply keep it at that. Alright then, so looking into the status. Landing distance procedure apply. There is no restriction on the flap setting we can use. And we have to do an overweight landing. Of course, we could go into a holding here until we are down at 75.5 tons, which would be maximum landing weight, but that would take several hours, so we have 4,000 meters of runway available. We can just as well bring it down overweight. Okay then, landing distance procedure apply. Let's go ahead and calculate. So, instead of Paphos, we are going back towards Frankfurt. Runway is going to be 25 center, refresh the METAR and apply. Landing weight 87.5. Okay, landing distance procedure, engine system, engine shutdown if fire push button pushed and if ice accretion. Well, it's not and, but this is the only one I can find, so we are going to use this one. Okay, low auto brake, maximum reverse, manual thrust, and config full. So the question now, why is it not calculating? Probably because of the overweight. If I need to guess, it only has data to the max landing weight. Let's try 75.5. Yeah. 1322. Easy going. Even though we are quite a bit higher, it means we can stop. That's the important thing. Okay, so we are not going to relight the engine, Cat 3 single only, and those inoperative systems here are no problem. Pack 1 is among there. We could theoretically feed that through APU bleed, but since we have fired a fire extinguisher into the number 1 system, there is a certain chance that fire extinguishing agent might have entered the left bleed ducts. For that reason, I'm not going to turn on the APU bleed. I'm going to leave that pack number 1 off. Okay, I think that's mostly it. Well then, I tell you what, let's start setting up for the immediate return here. So cruise flight level above maximum. I really wonder how it came to that idea. Drift down is 281, yeah, okay. That's fine, that's fine. Fine. Well, in that case, let's start entering the approach data. For the approach itself, Delta Fox 520, 4,003 degrees, and the missed approach is all exactly as per the chart. Very good. Don't need anything down here. Frankfurt 25 center can go in here. So for the performance, 1010. Temperature at the moment is 8 degrees and the wind 160 at 4. So 8 degrees, 160 at 4. So minimums 563. and I'm going to leave the config full over here due to the high approach speed at these weights. Nonetheless, we keep in mind if we have problems with our thrust, if we have insufficient thrust available, we might as well have to reduce. Talk about reducing. Why is my aircraft accelerating that much? You bring me back to the green dot, please. Like that, thank you. Probably due to the holding, but that's fine. We're gonna do it at green dot. Okay, so for the engine out acceleration, in case of the go-around, we take the MSA, which is 4,300 over here. So we are going to enter 4,300. And the rest is looking good. Okay. I will use auto brakes low in order not to completely not completely kill our brakes. Alright, well, in that case, we are all set up for the approach now. Next up, let's go ahead and read the overweight landing procedure, please. That one is right from the QRH over here. So, use config full for landing unless specified by abnormal procedure or limited by landing performance. There is no abnormal specifying a different flap setting. On the A330 it's config 3 for a single engine landing, but not on the A320 family. Okay, landing distance procedure apply. Well, we don't have that available for overweight landing, unfortunately, in the Fenix, but we have done the one for the engine failure here. Okay, for approach, let's just read ahead a little bit here from the QRH. Pack 1, off or supplied by APU. Pack 2, off or supplied by APU. If landing config other than full, that's not the case. Speed at runway threshold VLS, minimize vertical speed at touchdown. For landing, increase flare height, use maximum reverse as soon as possible. After no fuel touchdown, apply brakes as necessary. When the landing is completed, brake fans on, and that's the overweight landing checklist complete. So a few things on this one. Packs off or supplied by APU. We are going to use packs off because we can't supply them by the APU without the possibility of fire extinguishing agent entering the air conditioning system. So it's going to be packs off for this one, and speed at runway threshold VLS. I will use manual thrust on the final anyway for that. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it. Okay. So with all that good stuff out of the way, there's a company message as well. Let's see, maybe that's something important from maintenance here. No, just the Gazillion float sheet. Okay, that's fine. Alright, are you ready for the approach briefing? Go ahead. So, MSA 4300, radar vector, ILS Zulu, approach runway 25 center. Minimums is going to be 563. The go-around trajectory straight at either the Delta Fox point or 5000, whichever is later. It's going to be 5000 today. And then a left turn to Charlie climbing to 5000. Extra fuel is not an issue. We have like, what, 6-7 hours on board? Not a problem. Alright, ILS approach with the flight director and manual thrust. I will keep the autopilot for a longer time here, a little bit longer than usual. Landing config full, stop margin is more than enough. We will use maximum reverse, auto brakes low, and we'll initially stop the aircraft on the runway to have emergency services inspect the aircraft. That makes the taxi in kinda obsolete, and special operations and non-standard operations. So that is quite a bit of stuff. In terms of specials over here, we can start with our flap extension, because as you can see, the green dot is above the VFE speed, so we'll have to manually go below VFE, or rather, in selected speed, we have to go below VFE in order to be able to extend the flaps. Next up, we have the overweight landing procedure. So, A321, tail strike critical anyway. At 9.5 degrees, the tail strike can happen. Now, we have to reduce to VLS by the time we're over the threshold. That means we'll have a higher pitch than normal anyway. Also, we might be thrust limited here, so we're at the max landing weight. It might happen when we're established on the final that our remaining engine runs close to the maximum continuous thrust setting. If that happens, we'll have to reconsider doing a flaps 3 landing. What else do we have? The go-around is initially normal go-around procedure. If we use config full, it's only going to be config 3 for the go-around. But if we have to change to config 3 last minute, because we might just have insufficient engine thrust available, if that happens, then if we approach with config 3, we have to use config 1 plus F for the go-around, as per the overweight landing procedure. You have any questions on that stuff? No. So threats for the arrival, then tail strike, due to the overweight landing combined with the lower approach speed. And yeah, honestly, that's really it. Questions? No? Wonderful. Then let's do heading 010, and we are going to start our approach. So, descend 4,000 feet. Vertical speed minus 1,000, heading alt blue. And 4,000 blue. Yeah, cabin, not now. FO, could you talk to the cabin, please? In the meantime, activate approach phase. Set manage speed. Okay, we can do that. So, let's extend the center line here. Full heading. Heading. Okay, anything else on the status page that we might have missed? Nope, nothing on there. Okay, perfect. Then let's go ahead with the approach checklist, please. Barrel ref. Cabin pressure, low differential pressure. Yeah, that's okay. Expect high cabin rate, aircraft vertical speed reduce. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Clear cabin pressure. And did that add anything to the status? No. Okay, perfect. Right, so approach checklist. Barrel ref, QNH 1010. Seatbelts on, minimum. Baro 563. Auto brake, low, engine mode selector, norm, approach checklist complete. Okay, let's start slowing down. Selected speed. Can just dial that down, it will fly VLS anyway. Okay, flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Managed speed. Then let's start turning final. Heading 280, cleared ILS. So, status is reviewed. Remove status. Removed. Okay, beautiful. So, Cat 3 single, autopilot 1 and 2, log star, glide slope blue. As you can see, we are rather close to max continuous thrust already, even though we are just in flaps 1, maintaining our speed over here. For that reason, I will only start to continue configuring once we're actually approaching the glide slope. So, the availability of thrust here really is somewhat of an issue if you're at these very high rates. I'm not exactly sure about the A321. On the A330, if you're really at maximum takeoff weight, and then something like this happens, you gotta return immediately without the time to burn or dump any fuel. Well, you can't go landing flaps and gear down in level flight because you don't have sufficient thrust for that at the max takeoff weight with a single engine. I'm not 100% sure about the A321, but it does seem to look quite similar if I look at my EPR here and how close to the maximum that is already. Block. Alright, once the glide slope starts coming alive, we are going to continue with our flap extension. Once again, you can see that the slat speed is above the VFE next, so that's something for us to take into consideration. Config 215 knots. Okay, glide slope alive. Let's start bringing it down. So that's looking good. Flaps 2. Speed checked. Flaps 2. Managed speed. So the field is inside, 12 o'clock, the weather is perfect. Alright, and here we can see the issue. The engine is running really high. If you look at that, there's really not all that much space left there. Okay, glide slope's down. Go around altitude 5000 set. Okay then, and in order to find out what our drag situation looks like here, let's go gear down now. Glide slope. So, for the overweight landing checklist again. For approach, pack 1 off or supplied by APU, that's off. Pack 2 off or supplied by APU, off. If landing config other than full, that's not the case. Speed at runway threshold VLS, minimize vertical speed at touchdown, and that's the approach part complete. Okay, flaps 3, speed checked. Flaps 3. And flaps full. Speed checked. Flaps full. So we approach 156. It is going to come down. We have ground speed mini in action over here due to the very strong headwind we have right now. But the good news is if the airplane can maintain this speed, then it can also maintain the approach speed. So we are looking pretty good in the configuration we have right now. Okay, let's continue on the overweight landing checklist. For landing, increase flare height, use maximum reverse as soon as possible. After nosewheel touchdown, apply brakes as necessary. Okay, master caution, air pack off. Clear air. That is fully intentional. Okay, anything new on the status? No, remove status. At least nothing relevant there. I'm pretty sure that caution should not have come up. I'm pretty sure it is just confused because we never had both packs on after takeoff. And that is where the airplane would have a warning like that. Might be a little bug there. Okay, so dear wind, you can start dying down now so that our approach speed starts coming down. So the A320 family is capable of doing an automatic landing with an engine failure, and in the flight crew technique manual Airbus actually does advise that the possibility exists and should be considered by the crew. So Airbus actively promotes doing an automatic landing in case of an engine failure. However, since we do have the overweight landing condition as well, which demands to approach at a slower airspeed than normal and to increase the flare height, we are definitely not going to do an auto landing over here. Okay. Manual flight. Let's start bringing our speed back to VLS. Very easy to tell where VLS is. It's the top of the amber band. That's about as easy as it gets, isn't it? So, as we're losing speed, our pitch is of course coming up.
4, 300.
Okay, increase flare height. So I am going to flare it just about at 40.
Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard. 5.
And minimize the VS on touchdown. Here we go. Okay, spoilers, reverse normal. Decel. $70 knots. Idle reverse. Okay, manual brakes. Let's bring it to a stop. Okay, when landing completed, brake fans on. And that's the overweight landing checklist also completed. Alright, here we are. Welcome to Frankfurt, everyone. I sure hope that you enjoyed this one. From here on, I'd have the ground services inspect the aircraft, and if we are able to taxi off the runway ourselves, which I really don't expect here, then we taxi off the runway, bring it to stop on the taxiway, and then consider having the airplane towed in because of the high thrust requirement due to the very high weight. Now, all of that stuff would happen afterwards though. This is our procedure complete. I would like to thank you very much for flying with us today. Hope that you've enjoyed this one. Let me know your feedback in the comments below. And as always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as your input and your dedication to the channel is really what keeps this channel going. So thank you very much everyone. If you really love what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. And with that, I'd like to say thank you very much, enjoy your virtual flights, and I see you all again on the next one.